Hi guys, it's Cindy McKenna from Cindy M. Cardoso, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, hello, my name is Cindy McKenna, and if you are a returning subscriber, this setup might be a little bit different than what you're used to, but I have something really fun in store for us today. I had somebody comment on my Instagram post, one of them asking if I could do a YouTube video asking my father questions about his collection. And I thought to myself, that is a great idea. So I did a poll on my Instagram story, just asking for anyone to comment any questions, any desires they have for my dad. And that is a genius video idea. That's what we're gonna do today. So I have compiled a list from you guys of questions that you wanted to ask my father about his collection. And one thing I do want to remind you, my dad doesn't love to be on camera, but we did compromise and he will be a part of today's video. I thought it'd be great for him to share his responses and his answers coming from himself versus me telling you. And if there's any other questions, please comment them down below because I can always do a part 2. I always love reading your guys' comments, your suggestions, your questions. So please continue doing that. And if you have any video suggestions, please comment them down below. And for you guys who are new here, I post about my father's toy collection. He has been collecting for many, many years, and it's been so cool being able to grow up with it. And I've been able to add my pieces over the years. So it's really a family collaboration, and I'm so happy that I get a bond with him doing it. Without further ado, let's jump into today's video. But if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please do so. Okay, so I'm so excited my dad could be a part of this video. Thank you so much for, doing this with me. I know you don't love being on camera, but you love to answer questions about your collection.
Always happy to talk toys.
Okay, so as you know, I went on my Instagram and I did a poll of questions that my followers, my subscribers have. They are burning to ask you. So I'm gonna go through a few of those today. I feel like we kind of have to start with your childhood first because that's where everything is gonna originate from. So what was your first action figure as a kid?
Kenner Star Wars Stormtrooper. And I loved that thing. In fact, we were on a vacation once and I lost it. So my parents drove me around store to store to store trying to find a replacement with no luck. I think I've more than made up for my lack of Stormtrooper as a child now.
What was your favorite figure as a kid?
My favorite figure was the original Transformers Soundwave. I mean, not only did you have a cool figure, but he had a bunch of little friends that you could put in his chest. And
was there a favorite cassette you liked putting in Soundwave?
Man, I love Laserbeak. It's just such a great little figure. And, you could set it up on his shoulder, put it on his arm.
What toy line did you first start with when you were a kid? And then what did you get back into when you were an adult?
Probably my first toy line was Kenner Star Wars. It was everything for a kid my age. And then actually later on down the road, I walked into a Walmart and saw a Star Wars Transformer crossover figure. And I thought that would be really cool to have. So I bought one and then I bought them all. Got into the Transformers Cybertron line and was amazed at how far they had come since the 80s.
What's one toy that reminds you of a specific moment from your childhood?
I was in grade school. I remember it was my birthday and I was being bullied that day. I ended up going home from school early and I was upset. And I called my mom and she told me my birthday presents were in the closet and that I could open them. And I got them out and started tearing into packages of Sectors. I remember opening them and having hours of fun playing with those and forgetting about the bad day I was having.
I really like this question. What was your favorite toy in the cereal boxes back in the 80s?
Ooh, okay. There's a lot of good ones, but okay, my favorite wasn't a cereal box toy. It was a Cracker Jacks toy, and it was the temporary tattoos that you would get.
When did you first start collecting?
Probably started collecting 20 to 25 years ago as a adult collector.
Officially collecting.
Yeah, it would have been whenever whenever those Star Wars crossovers came out. I'm not sure exactly what year, but that's what sparked everything.
I feel like that kind of goes into the next question, but anything you want to add about what made you start collecting?
As an adult, I had more money, and I realized that I hadn't lost my passion for action figures. I got that first one home, and it was so much fun. And I liked that feeling, so I went back and bought more and more, and it was just good and innocent, and it was fun. So I kept on.
Some deeper questions. Do you think collecting has changed the way that you parent or that we bond?
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that I can share with my kids and spend time with. I get to relive a little bit of my childhood, going through things I used to collect and love and still have. And I get to hear about your interest and what you like. And it's something just pure innocence and fun. So you show me a lot of toys that I didn't know existed. And I hope I've done the same for you.
What is the best part of sharing your collection with your family? It's all great for me because I'm on the receiving end.
Yeah, I think they get to know me more than just a father and a provider and, somebody that works a lot. It's something that I'm passionate about. I think maybe some family members think I talk too much about it, but I've had to hear about, Pokemon and Minecraft for hours and hours and hours. So fair trade.
Now let's get to know you a little bit more, but specifically about your collection and some favorites. So out of all of the different lines of figures, what line is your favorite?
Have to be Transformers. Just the versatility of the figure itself. I mean, you can have a robot that turns into a car or a plane or whatever their minds can come up with. So there's a lot of tactile fun in that. It's more than just changing an arm position or a pose on a shelf. You can actually, have it in your hand and just without even looking at it, transform something over and over and over. So it's my version of a fidget spinner.
What is one franchise that you keep going back to?
Again, Transformers. They go through periods where they get a little too kid-oriented, less detail, a little more play school looking. And then, they did Titan's Return line, and they just were knocking it out of the park with all of the, the Gen 1, reimaginings, especially all the headmasters. And I thought, okay, this is it. So, I really started collecting those, trying to get at least one modern version of every Gen 1 figure.
What is your favorite Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle piece or line?
Really love the NECA animated line. They've gotten into some really obscure characters, and they look like they came right out of the TV screen. And as far as a character, I've always loved Raphael.
I feel like this next question will be hard for you. What is your favorite NECA Predator?
There are quite a few. I really like that they've been doing the Ultimates line, giving it better articulation. There was a period there with NECA, you stood such a chance of breaking them right out of the package. They're a fully painted figure head to toe, and that paint would get stuck. And unfortunately, it's happened to me a couple of times, even heating them up. But the Ultimates, they fixed a lot of that. You can move them around a lot more freely. But on the Ultimates line, it's either got to be the Snake Predator or the Shaman Predator. And I love the Shaman Predator's mask.
What is your favorite Optimus Prime from your collection?
That would be MP10. I think that thing is just about perfect. I love it so much. I found that at Toys R Us, and I was so excited. I saw it once, picked it up. I've never seen it anywhere else. I was so excited to get that. I mean, it has the trailer, it has everything.
Ooh, interesting question. Do you feel seasonal with certain figures?
Yeah, I think so. I think that most toy lines will go into a period where they either quit trying or they run out of ideas or they're concentrating on a new show or something and it's something I'm not interested in. Transformers has done that a few times. There was the more recent RID line a little more children's focused, and I quit collecting Transformers for a while because of that. I bought a couple of them and it just wasn't what I was looking for.
Do you still play with your figures, or is it just fantasy?
Oh man, I wish I could still play with my figures. I spent hours and hours and hours as a kid making up voices, playing. I just do not have that in me. I wish I did.
You've tried.
I have tried. It's just not there. I appreciate the art that is action figures, but having a good play, I can't do it. It would be great. I get more joy now out of like customizing figures.
And that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, create my own little spin on things. But no, the voices are gone, and can't quite get there anymore.
Dang it. Okay, I don't want to ask this question, but has your daughter ever broken one of your figures?
I would like to think not, but my delicate little flower here. Is a little like a bull in a china shop sometimes. So usually after filming, I have to go around and stand figures back up that she has bumped into and doesn't notice that she's doing it. But no, I don't think broken one.
I have not, and I truly mean it. I have not broken one of your figures, but I've definitely knocked a lot over.
Knocked a lot over.
I've had a lot of people ask this. Have you accidentally bought a figure twice because you forgot you already had it?
No, I've got a pretty photographic memory for everything I have, even where I got it. I bought a couple of figures, second one.
On purpose.
On purpose, because one, I thought, I'm going to play with this thing so much I'm going to wear it out, and still haven't. But I have a backup in case.
Another most asked question. What is the most you have ever spent on a toy?
Recently, I ordered a 1/12 scale dragon from Mythic Legions called Baratheer. It was a kind of a Kickstarter campaign, and all in, it was like $1,000. But from the tip of its flame effect to the end of its tail, it's going to be about 6 foot long. And I am so excited for that.
That is not the most expensive figure that we have in the collection, but that is the most he has spent on a figure. What is one figure that you regret not pre-ordering or purchasing?
I am still missing the Titans Return Top Spin and Twin Twist. I have the G2 version of one, and then the other one's coming out in a 2-pack, but it's just not the same paint job. I would really like those. They're hard to find, and I'm not willing to spend what people are asking for, what was a $20 figure. So
with that being said, what was the hardest item to find in your collection?
Okay, so NECA did a crossover with Aliens, Predator, and DC. They put it up for pre-order on their website. I pre-ordered them, and then there was some licensing issues, I guess, with the scale of the figure or whatnot. So they became exclusive to certain people. But I was at a Comic-Con, and I finally tracked down the Yellow Lantern Predator and the Green Lantern Hal Jordan figure. I paid pretty good money for it, but I was so excited to have that Predator, and I'll always take another Hal Jordan.
What franchise is the most difficult to collect figures for?
Oh man, hands down G.I. Joe Classified. I was so excited when this line came out. It's been the most miserable launch I've ever seen. They had so many store exclusives of key figures that everyone wanted. You couldn't find them. Target, I don't think even actually carried them. I never saw them in stores. They were just went up on eBay immediately because I think they were going out the back door. And then they continued to do these drops through Hasbro Pulse with no notice, and things sell out immediately. And these are key figures. These are not some weird variant, that you may want, may not want. These are like key figures that everyone...
Instrumental to your collection.
Figures aren't there. I have my best friend, he collects G.I. Joe. And hopefully I can find 2 things so I can get him one. If I can even find me one.
This one's serious. What is the hardest part of being a collector?
I think finances. It
Well, especially when you collect a lot of different things. You don't just stick to one. There's a lot of things you love.
Yeah, I mean, I not so much in what it cost. It's people's views on what it cost. So
fair.
I could have a buddy that's into hunting, and he could spend thousands a year on gear and licenses and trips, and that's normal. Or you could like fishing, or tickets to season tickets to a team that you like, and all the tailgating and parking and all that. It adds up. But most people look at a grown adult male and he collects toys and they think it's so ridiculous. But those people that fish and hunt, I mean, I'm not knocking them, but
no,
everything I've spent money on, I still have to show.
Yes, it's not just an experience.
Yeah, and that's kind of a downside too, because as I collect, the collection grows, so it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and what started out as just a small niche thing,
yes,
became kind of an overwhelming collection.
Now this is a really great question. I have gotten it on every single platform. What are your thoughts on boxes? Do you keep them or do you throw them away?
I hate boxes.
You used to keep all of the boxes.
I kept boxes for more high-end figures, third-party Transformers, things like that, but it takes up so much space. I love the art on a box. Yeah. I really appreciate those in-box collector collections. Mm-hmm. It's like walking into my dream toy store, but I have to touch a figure, so that means I'm left with an empty box. So the only boxes that I keep are for the Mezco and for the 6 scale stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm never selling this stuff, but if something were to ever happen to me, there's so much value with those boxes that I keep them so that, it's worth more for you later.
Which company do you trust the most when it comes to quality?
That's easy. Mythic Legions, 4 Horsemen. These figures they're durable enough to give to, a 4 or 5 year old.
And not break.
They're designed so well. They're painted head to toe. They're so fun to rip them apart and put them back together and make your own figures. Just hands down, just great quality.
What is your most underrated toy line? Something that you wish people appreciated more?
Gonna go Mythic Legions. It started as a Kickstarter 10 years ago, and it has grown and grown and grown. They have their own con every year. It's called Legions Con. It's in New Jersey, and it happens in November. So the community keeps growing, but I think there's so many people that are just missing out. And what Mythic Legions is, for those who don't know, it's a fantasy line of figures. So you've got elves and dwarves and orcs and goblins. And, if you like Lord of the Rings, you like anything like that, it is perfect for that. They're high quality figures.
Yes.
They, a few years back, started a Cosmic Legions line, which is same quality, same ability to pull a figure apart, put it back together in different ways, but it's all space. So it's aliens, and it's got their own lore. So there's no comic book or TV show or movie that goes with it. It's their own creation, which allows me kind of a freedom to create my own world with it and my own characters. And I wish more people knew about it so they'd make me more figures.
If money wasn't an issue, what would your next big centerpiece you'd add? Also thinking about if you had unlimited space, you could add your next thing.
I would love to have the original USS flag for G.I. Joe. I would love to have it mint in a box. I would keep that box, but I would so open it and display that. It was the largest playset ever made. I think it still is to this day. It's a Grail piece.
Little boy's dream.
I mean, yeah, it's huge. It's great. No company's ever going to make something like that now.
Is there a holy grail that you are still hunting for?
No, not really. I mean, there are things that I would like, and if I find them, great. Really, it's when you say grail, it also says high dollar.
Yeah.
And something's only worth what you're willing to pay for it. So while I would like to have, there are figures that I would love to have, but you take a $20 figure and now they want $200 for it. that seems excessive to me.
Yeah.
Especially when they're going to come out with another version. You know, there's always you know, another company. Like Hot Toys just came out with their Dewback, and you know, Sideshow had one, and I thought about getting the Sideshow Dewback, but the aftermarket prices were crazy. Well, I've got a brand new one that's better than the one I wanted, and I got it for retail price. So, you know, if you're in this hobby for long enough, eventually they're going to make a better version. You can get that one.
What is the biggest figure in your collection?
I think it's got to be the HasLab Galactus. I mean, that is a massive figure. That is, it's big. I think, you know, I think it has to be it. They did a great job with it, and it's big.
Yeah, it is.
And it could have been bigger.
Well, let's wrap this up with some really good reflective questions. So if you could give young you one figure from your collection today, what would you choose and why?
Give myself a Hot Toys Star Wars, any of them, and say,
because mine would be blown.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to get better.
This is a fun one. If you could live in a toy lines universe for one day, what would it be?
Sans the violence, I think it would be Transformers. If I could be a Transformer.
Yes.
I
Ooh,
mean,
would you be an Autobot or a Decepticon?
I
know the answer.
Man, I would go Decepticon.
Uh-huh.
I don't care. Car, plane, whatever, to be able to transform, that would be awesome.
Now, this is a really great one for our audience. If you could give one piece of advice to a new collector, what would that be?
I would say enjoy the love of collecting. Don't do it for future profit. It's not an investment. It's a horrible way to make money.
Yes.
I mean, and why take something that you love and try to turn it into something to make money on? It just becomes work. You know, buy it because you like it. Buy it because you love it. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, if somebody else thinks it's cool or if it's not. Just get what you love. Play with what you love.
I agree. I have people write in my comments and they say, she just does it for the money. She makes videos or collects for the money. Well, what money is there? We spend our money on
Do I get a cut of that?
Yeah.
By the way, if you invest what I've invested to make what you may have made, that's
a
horrible investment.
Horrible. And if you had to describe your collection in 3 words, what would they be?
Uniquely mine and growing.
Last and final question. Do you think that collecting has helped you hold on to your inner child?
Oh, absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up in bills and work and getting older and getting sick and, you know, the troubles of the world. And it's so much fun to, you know, like, come down and look at my collection and just think about a time when that was all it was just fun. So absolutely. Anything you can do to hold on to your childhood is a great thing. You can still enjoy all of those things and be a man and be a good provider, you know, be a good father, be a good husband. You know, you have to limit yourself. So my days aren't spent collecting toys. You know, that's where I spend some of my free time. And who doesn't love a comic book and a video game? You're never too old for that. If you are, I don't want to hang around with you.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this video. I'm so glad it didn't take too much to convince you, but I'm really happy that you could be a part of this video and you can answer the questions all of the subscribers and the followers have for you. And again, if you guys have any burning questions that my dad did not answer in this video, please drop them in the comments because maybe in the future I'll do a part 2. But I really appreciate you guys for being a part of today's video. Again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. But in the meantime, I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye.